पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः. First of all, let me thank everybody here for inviting me to speak and to stay and use the premises for our walk of hope. The subject given to me today is spirituality and management. What is the subject? Anybody? Spirituality and management. So, I think let's first talk about spirituality and then about management, and see if there is a common link between the two. Is there a link or there is no link at all? First, about being spiritual. Now, to be spiritual doesn't mean it just doesn't mean only to follow a certain religion. Because I know many people who are very religious but may not be so spiritual. Religion is the beginning to spirituality. It is the doorway through which you walk into the corridors of spirituality. Religions have been made so that we follow certain principles in life and then become mature enough to go into the spiritual aspects. However, on the way somewhere we lose track of the spiritual and try to stick to only the religious external shell, which is the cause of the problems that we have in the world. If you go to the root, then there is absolute peace and tranquility, whichever be the method that you follow. In fact, the Bhagavad Gita is one book which admits as early as maybe 1,000 years or more that there are many paths to the truth. You're very familiar with the 2,000-year-old statement of the Rig Veda. Ekam sat vipra bahudha vedanti. There is one truth, but the wise may call it by different names. Why? Because different people have different mindsets. They live in different geographical localities. They live in different forms of society, and therefore they're looking at the same truth may differ in many ways. But when all the colored glasses are removed and when the curtains are cleared, the stark, naked truth is but one. This is the meaning of this statement, Ekam Sat. This is also the meaning of being spiritual. Now, if you go into the spiritual aspect of any religion, the first thing that occurs to us is that they lay great stress on finding out who you are, where you stand, what is your connection with the world, and what's your connection with the divine. First, to find out who you are. Now, please don't tell me that I know who I am. If somebody asks me, who are you? If I say, I know who I am, I'm Shri M or M or whatever, that doesn't answer the question. That's a name that is given to me by somebody or given to me at birth. So I think that it is my identity. But what am I actually? What are the facets of my mind which are multifarious? What is the core which unites these things together? Where does my identity come from? This is the meaning of the question, who am I? There's no point in repeating who am I, who am I, who am I. You don't find who you are by repeating who am I. It's to find out for yourself where you stand, how you are, how you function. And for that, the most important thing is awareness, self-awareness. To be aware of yourself at all times. Not to be aware of yourself only during meditation. That is not so difficult. Half an hour I close my eyes, which is good, I'm not saying it's bad. Half an hour, it's a good training. I close my eyes and I'm aware of my thoughts. You know how it is. When I close my eyes for half an hour, the mind is kind of a highway of thoughts moving up and down. Very often there are storms and holocausts going on in the mind. This is what we know. Now that is comparatively easier to be aware of that rather than to be aware of our thoughts and actions and motives every day as we live. It's not difficult to be aware before you get angry, to be aware, here comes anger. Before you desire something, to be aware, now this is a desire which I actually need not have. When jealousy arises, to be aware, here comes the culprit. Now this can happen only in daily life. You can't do it in a cave. When my teacher, Maheshwarnath Babaji, told me once, well, he told me several times, that if you are meditating in a cave for 50 years, for 15 hours a day, then a day has only 12 hours, 12 hours a day, and think that you are free of your anger and your anxieties and your jealousies and your attachments, he said it is a completely wrong notion, because in the cave there is no one to get angry with. There is no jealousy. What are you jealous of? You can't be jealous of the cave. There's nothing there. It's only when you come out of the cave and get into the train or the bus, and when somebody kicks you on your leg, that you know where you stand. So awareness means not only the awareness of meditation, which we can do for 1 hour or half an hour, but to be aware of your daily life as you act. What is the motive of my action? Why do I do this? Am I honest about my purpose, or am I misleading myself and also misleading the world? This awareness is the beginning of spirituality. Also, if you think you are spiritual, please watch your mind and see if your mind, by your practices and by your living, is becoming kinder, compassionate, merciful, more friendly, and not aggressive, angry, and full of hatred. If your mind is changing and you are becoming a better person, a kinder person, a tranquil person whose mind is at rest in spite of all circumstances, then you are progressing spiritually. Even if you have not had a single vision. No yogi can have as many visions as somebody who eats LSD. So, the criteria is, am I becoming better? Am I expanding myself and including others into myself? Vedanta says the actual reality is that there is only one self. You can call it one mind if you don't want to believe in the self. There is only one mind. It manifests itself through different centers. When it manifests through my center, I say this is M. When it manifests through his center, he says I am K. But there is only one supreme, all-pervading reality, to which the Upanishads have referred to as Isha Vashyamidam Sarvam, that Kincha Jagatyam Jagat, is that supreme reality that pervades everything here. There is not a single thing or situation or place or property in which that supreme being does not exist. Unfortunately, we don't see it. The moment you begin to realize it in some way, mentally, and then start practicing accordingly, because if I see myself in you, then when I serve you, I am actually serving myself. If I hurt you, I hurt myself. This is the message of the Upanishad, that this whole world is pervaded and permeated by the Supreme Being. We are only parts of the manifestations of that central truth. And therefore, if you hurt somebody, you hurt yourself. Now, this is not confined to the Vedantic philosophy alone. Several great teachers belonging to all different religions have said this. The Buddhists, among them, have said that compassion is the essence of nirvana. People think that nirvana means everything is finished, the candle is blown away. It simply means the candle of self-centered behavior and selfishness has been blown away. So what remains is something which you cannot define using words, and therefore the Buddhists call it shunya. It's not that there is nothing in shunya. There is nothing, then you don't have to do any sadhana to attain that. You just need to take a crowbar and hit you on the head. You are in nirvana, nothingness. So nirvana is not nothingness. Shunyata is not nothingness. It means there is nothing which can define it, which is also the definition of the Supreme Being. In all ancient mystic teachings have said that it is undefinable by ordinary words. Yad vacha na abhyutitam. Even words cannot describe it. So therefore what? The person who realizes it usually becomes silent. I must tell you a story. There was a great Pandit, a very learned person called Kavyakanta Ganapati Shastriya. He had studied everything that you include in your spiritual curriculum. There was nothing that he didn't. Studied the Upanishads, the Gita, Vedanta, Tantra. Anything you ask, he knew. But he found, with all this knowledge, most of his writings are in Persian. And his famous poems are called the Majnavi. Majnavi means a couplet in poetry. So there is given a beautiful story which was enacted by the Sunat group yesterday in Trivandrum. A friend, a long lost friend, went back to meet his friend, stood outside the door and knocked. From inside came the voice, "Who are you?" His friend said, "I am this, I am that, this is my name, I have been there, I have come there, I am an old friend of yours, I have come back to see you." And the voice came from inside, "I am very busy, I have no time to see you, go." He went, spent many years, understood the meaning of what the answer was and came back. And then he knocked again. And the voice from inside said, "Who is there?" He said, "None other than you." The doors were open and he was welcomed inside. This is the thing. The divine that we seek is none other than what remains in the center of your consciousness, which is there when you're asleep, when you're dreaming, when you're in deep sleep, and when you're awake. So, management from now on, I think, should be a spiritual management, which is first to listen to people, bring people together, share their opinions, brainstorm, and then find out how you can work out or solve a problem. The other is the mind. Unless and until you have a mind which is quiet and tranquil, it's not possible for you to go through the stress and strain of daily life and management. So while you learn how to communicate with people, how to be aware of what they want and how much you can give, keeping in mind that the final product is happiness and not material. That to get, I heard that there are 50,000 people working in this technopark. Now 50,000 people working and earning a livelihood itself is a gift that the park is giving to the human being. So look for good things that can happen, not for how much profit can you get. This is the new management, I'm telling you. It's beginning to work in the West and it's going to come here. Unfortunately, we'll do it only when it happens in the West. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had this famous story. There was someone who never read the Bhagavad Gita. And then finally one day, the same person came and said, the Bhagavad Gita is a wonderful book, everybody should read it. And so Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, some Englishman must have told him that the Gita is a good book. So we don't have to wait for that to happen. Because in our country, we have enough spiritual stuff which can be translated into human management.